But then we got updates. Now I'm a believer. What's going on, everybody? It's Richard Koberger here, the Blue Collar Nerd. So this is a release notes video. Sort of. Allow me to explain. Something very magical has happened. ServiceTitan had an internal hackathon. So basically what that means is they brought a bunch of product engineers and they brought them in a room and they said, hey, so you know all those projects you've been working on? Well, I sure do. I got them all right here. Well, those all out of my face. We're working on these today. Okay. And so all day they just worked on some little projects, some little things that have been annoying about the product. Some of which were things that I've brought up in the past, particularly in my 2019 Christmas wish list and in my crippling 10% video. And all of these little changes and fixes that they've made are just being kind of ghost released. So these changes are in your live accounts now. It wasn't a big to-do, there's no release notes. And I find myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. I wasn't scared. Just wanted to. I just felt a little. Sometimes I like to warm up my vocals. Yeah, I'm just gonna. You just put that right there for now. Whew, where was I? Anyway, yeah, all of these changes are in your live accounts now. There were no release notes. They weren't really part of an official release. They're just there. So I'm gonna go over some of the stuff that we got, and I'm gonna mainly talk about the things that I really like. There's more to it and I'll point them out, but I'm not gonna go into great detail about every little thing. So one thing, and this is actually what I'm most excited about, technicians can now see equipment cost mobile side. So previously, you could only allow technicians to see material cost. And this created a major problem, at least in my company. So for sales, we really need our salesperson, our consultant, to be able to see our costs so that we can be accurately calculating pricing. But because the only way to do that was materials, we had to enter in all of our equipment as materials. But if you just do that, then you don't get all the benefits of entering equipment as equipment, you know, having the model number in there, having the age tracked. And so essentially we had double entry. We had to enter everything as equipment and as materials and tie the equipment to the material and then tie the material to the service. It was a big to-do. It was a lot of extra work. It was confusing. It made job costing more complicated. It was just really annoying for this one little simple thing that needed to change, and now it has. So just like with materials, this is a permission, so if you don't want your technicians seeing equipment costs, don't panic. It's not gonna just show it to them. You have to turn on the permission, but it is an option now, which is great. That was something that I pointed out in my crippling 10% video, so I am very pleased to see that addressed. Next, we get a warning now when initially booking a job when the skills required for the job are mismatched with the skills assigned to that technician. Again, this was something I brought up in my crippling 10% video. So there's a feature called technician skills where you can assign skills to certain technicians and then mark which job types require specific skills so that you don't get a mismatch. But previously, you only got that warning when you were rescheduling a job via drag and drop on the dispatch board. That was the only scenario when you got warned about that. Now with this hackathon quality of life release, you're gonna get a warning about that when initially booking the job. It's gonna say, hey, this technician doesn't have these particular skills that are required for this job. Are you sure you wanna book it? That makes a lot of sense, thank you. Another one that I called out on my crippling 10% video, job confirmations not being visible mobile side. That's fixed now. So if a job is marked confirmed, the technicians are going to see a confirmed label on the mobile side. And they also have this little button that says what is confirmed that explains to them what that means. That part was actually my suggestion, so I'm extra pleased to see that that made it in the release. So now job confirmations can truly result in a more efficient workflow because the technician knows whether or not the client has already said that that job is confirmed. Also with this hackathon release, job, project, and customer location pages all load up to 80% faster. Now, I've seen these kind of claims made in the release notes before, and usually I test it out and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. This one, I do feel a difference. It's noticeable. I mean, you guys give it a shot, let me know what you think, but it feels noticeably snappier to me. Some other things in this hackathon release. Ability to bypass inventory adjustments. So before there was no way to set inventory to match to an already tracking accounting platform, but now ServiceTitan can be updated to match and bypass the adjustments. That's via an option on this drop down that I'll show you right here. They have darkened the signature box on the mobile side where the customer signs so that it's a little bit more visible, especially with screen protectors, and sometimes you're outside and there's glare. It can be hard to see that faint gray that they had, so they darkened that up a little bit. An update for QuickBooks Online. ServiceTitan will now truncate really long descriptions on price book items. That could sometimes cause an error with exporting, importing. So it's now just going to cut that off at a certain point to make sure that that doesn't happen. Another update for those of you on inventory. If you're importing an inventory adjustment from the Excel template, you'll now get a confirmation message when that goes through. Before, you were just kind of left to wonder whether it worked or not. ServiceTitan now also maintains the business unit to job type ties when booking through a flyout. So let me break that down a little bit. So normally on the job booking screen, you can have certain job types tied to certain business units so that when you're on the main call booking screen, if you select, for example, the service business unit, you will only get service related job types from that drop down menu. That way you don't have to scroll through every single job type that you have, you can filter it down. But that didn't work in flyout booking. So like if you're booking off of another job, say it's a technician lead and you're booking it as a lead, you get that little flyout from the side of the screen and you book the job from there. And previously that filtering didn't work there, but now it does. You can now also set custom dashboards as your default dashboard. So ServiceTitan has these custom dashboards. They're basically just 2.0 reports, but on your dashboard screen. They can be useful for a lot of people, but previously if you wanted to use that, you would have to select it every time. It would always default back to the standard dashboard. But now you can set one of those as your primary dashboard and it's sticky, it will stay that way. You can now also filter down the messages on that SMS screen on the dispatch board. So that little sidebar where all the messages come in of so-and-so dispatched, or if a technician sends a text to the office, you can filter that down so you can say, I only want to see the technician text messages, or I only want to see when they dispatch and not when they arrive, or however you want to filter it down. It's going to be especially helpful for larger companies that have a lot of data flowing through there. It's going to make that data a lot more digestible. Also, something I'd like to point out, this isn't part of this hackathon release, but it is something that's come available since I brought it up in my wish list video. So in that wish list video, I said that I wanted to see a way to tie certain job types to recurring services so that you couldn't book the job type without a recurring service. My example was memberships. I have membership job types and there's no reason to ever book those without a recurring service. That's going to give me bad data if that ever happens. You can do that now. It's gated, ask your CSM about it, but that's a feature. I'm using it, it works great. I also wanted a way to properly book recurring services from the standard call screen without having to go to the location page and finding the recurring service and booking it through there, which was the previous only right way to do it. That is also an option now. If a customer has recurring services, that will show up on the call booking screen and you can book it right from the call booking screen. Again, that's gated and you'll have to ask your CSM about it, but I've been using it and it's been working great. So when ServiceTitan notified me to tell me about all of this, they kindly asked that if I do make a video about it, could I please mention a couple of things that are features people ask for that already exist. So they said they get a lot of requests for some way to electronically sign estimates, like a DocuSign. That is in fact something you can already do. That's called online estimates. So if you go into your settings and then under invoicing email, go to the estimate tab and you'll see your template for what your emailed estimates look like. Now underneath the main text box there, you'll see all those little short codes, all those little links that you can put in there. One of them should be online estimate link surrounded by those squiggly brackets. Now if you don't see online estimate link at all, talk to your CSM, it's probably not turned on. If it is there, make sure that you have that in your email template somewhere in the body. Now if you have that, then your customers are going to get a link that they can click, and you can actually set up alerts so that you know when they click the link and when they're looking at your estimates. And if they decide that they want to move forward, they can sign that estimate right there electronically. Again, you can set up alerts to be notified when that happens. You can also set up the alert to go to whoever made the estimate in the first place. You do have to build those alerts out separately. That's under your alert section. Similarly, there's online payments, and that goes on the email template for the invoice. So people can click a link there and pay you remotely. They said that they also get a lot of requests for the ability to send multiple estimates at once, which you can do already. On the mobile side, it's real easy. When you go to email an estimate, you just get checkboxes with all of the estimates that you've made on that job, and you can check off all the ones you want to send. On the office side, you would open up the estimate, click that little envelope, that email icon, and then right there at the bottom, there's a checkbox to send all estimates, not just this one. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you guys think about these updates. I think this is awesome, ServiceTitan. Please do this more often. This is a great step in the right direction, and as a ServiceTitan client, this makes me feel heard. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you've not done that already. Click like if you liked the video, and leave me a comment down below. Appreciate it. Peace. I thought ServiceTitan, it would never change. I'd never get that functionality. Thought he's out to get me, that's the way it seemed. Feature gaps, they haunted all my dreams. But then we got updates. Now I'm a believer, not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I've got the fever in my eyes. You guys probably lock the door when you watch my videos, huh? Somebody walks in. Oh, it's for work. It's hard to explain.